Hi, it's Rick of Bay Area Mold Pros. One of the most common problems we have here in the Bay Area has to do with the moisture beneath the home in the crawl space. This morning I went out on a mold inspection in the city of Berkeley below the university. The home was a 1960s vintage home, and the tenant living there noticed what she thought was black mold on her walls. She called the management company, they sent out a handyman, and he literally started pulling the drywall down from the walls. So she moved out for a couple of days. She went back to her apartment this morning and found the walls opened up, and she gave me a call. So I went out there and started taking moisture measurements. I found that not only was the framing wet, I'm talking about the studs in the walls, the plates on the walls, all the way down to the subfloor, into the hardwood, and the substrate beneath the bathroom tile, all saturated. There were no obvious signs of leak in this home. I found a small roof leak. You could see it coming down an ABS vent line, so that was a small leak. It did not account for what we found in this apartment. But when you opened up the hatch to get into the crawl space, there was so much water down there that it has to be the reason that we're experiencing all this moisture in the framing. So this crawl space had so much water, it's getting up into the framing, and the framing is pulling it all the way up. It's wicking it up the walls, into the drywall, into the framing, into the studs, into the subfloor. Moving into the kitchen, the day that the tenant moved out, the management company came in here and started pulling out cabinets and opening up the walls. This wall has already been re-drywalled. This is new drywall on this wall. The problem is the framing is soaking wet. It's so wet you can feel it with your hands. But this framing is just completely saturated with moisture, and they had already covered this back up with new drywall. Framing is saturated here. The lesson here is, if you've got a lot of groundwater under your home, you've got to do something about it, because eventually that water is going to make its way into your home.